Nigeria, as a developing country, is more vulnerable to the effects of climate change owing to its limited infrastructure and a heavy reliance on natural resources. One of the effects of weak infrastructure is the inability to mitigate the effects of flooding, which between 2022 and 2024 has claimed over 600 lives and displaced more than 1.3 million people. The 2025 Annual Flood Outlook theme Flood Resilience, focusing on communities' preparedness and adaptation strategies for flood management, advocate for improved infrastructure and localized planning. Despite the Flood Outlook, which indicated 33 states and the FCT fall within the high flood risk areas, the sense of urgency required across key stakeholders to address the recurring issues of flooding is lacking. Hello and welcome to WebTV Focus program, where we discuss issues that affect the Nigerian household. I am Gabriel Jude. Today's edition will focus on flooding in Nigeria, improving climate resilience infrastructure. And to discuss this, I have Mr. Samson Ogunleye, a health, safety, and environment professional in the studio. Thank you for coming on this program.
Thank you very much for having me. It's good to be here to discuss this pressing issue in our nation today.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
All right, so before we begin the conversation proper, I would like us to listen to some Nigerians who we had interview with on the street talking about how we can mitigate this issue of flooding.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Okay, no.
What do you think are the possible ways to curb flooding, especially in Lagos and other parts of Nigeria?
Having experienced flooding, and to me, the major cause of this, especially in Lagos, is poor drainage pattern. We need to educate our people. They should not be throwing garbage waste into the gutter. These are little causes that block drainage and which causes drainage, flood. So when you empty your dustbin, take it to the right channel instead of dropping it on the road or dropping it into the gutter. Then government need to do their own part as well. I could remember during the time of Governor Fashola, mostly during around January, February, he sent people out to clear drainages, canals. But nowadays, I have not been experiencing that in recent time. So those things need to be reintroduced again. Clearing canals matters a lot. So before rain comes, those drainage and canal will have been empty. There will be through passage for water to flow. That will reduce drainage. Then people who are building on waterways, the authority in charge of that should put more effort in stopping that. So that will curb flooding in Lagos State.
My own view is that, number one, in Lagos State, we need a proper action. Why I say this word is that our people, with government working for us, we are not allowed effort of government to show. In time of put maybe a counter, a shop where it's not supposed to be, a counter where it's not supposed to be, which is what I mean, that counter they are using to put their market. A place where somebody is not supposed to sell food, a place where somebody is not supposed to put charcoal. She will say that he is selling, he is doing business. All these kind of things is more causing flooding, to not allow the water to flow.
They used to dump refuse inside these drainages, and they are blocked. So any little rain, there will be flooding. What the government can do for us is just to clear the canal and drainages for us, and more on masses awareness and education again. They should be educated that this thing will come back to us. If you keep on putting your refuse inside canal or water, it will come back to us when there is rain.
Basically, what I think about reducing flood, basically in Nigeria, in Lagos as a whole, because there's a lot of flood issues right now happening around us. I think the best thing is for us to always dispose our trashes, dispose it in the right places. I guess there are people that used to pack trash. So you, even if they are not around or they are not available, maybe you should just call them, then dispose our trash, because some people still leave their trashes on the roadside. So if we try to dispose our trashes in the normal places where it's supposed to be or where it's supposed to go to, I think it will reduce flood.
The most important thing is for us to manage our waste bin. You know, how do we dispose our trash? It's very important because, you know, most of the time when Lagosians especially, let me put it that way, because I live in Lagos, so I know how it is in Lagos. So I feel like most of the time, Lagosians, when we buy, for instance, a bottle of water, after taking the bottle of water, we just throw the empty can, empty bottle, we just throw it on the ground. You know, these are the things that pile up at the end of the day, gather somewhere, you know, and then form, when the rain season now starts, it begins to form kind of flood and all of that. So I feel like when we dispose our trash, you know, rightfully, this can actually reduce. And then again, when, you know, most of the time as well, when, for instance, in some areas in Lagos, the people living in that environment don't even care. They always want to wait for the government to do the right thing. And what do I mean by doing the right thing? Some of these areas are not well managed, well organized in terms of putting interlock on the area and all of that. So when there is no better plan, you know, for that road. So when you see a road like that, there are ways you can actually, as a Lagosian, there are ways you can actually help in terms of putting things in order, making sure that that area is well filled up, you know, put sand and all of that, and then making sure that, you know, you can do a bit of your own and then leave the rest for the government.
So from that video, you know, a lot of people talk about drainages.
Yes.
Talk about dirt and all of that.
Yes.
So now, from your research and experience, what do you think have been the major cause of flooding? Let me start this way.
Okay. From research and from my knowledge, from my reservoir of knowledge, I think that there are two major causes. Number one is insufficient infrastructure that will contain this flood. When flood occurs, you know, flood is when there is too much of water. The water body is filled up, say the river, the coastal areas, the stream, the lake. When they receive excess water, you know, water will always find its course. You understand? Wherever is available, the water will flow to that area. So once this water flow away, they flow out of their main course. Are there readily available channels to contain them? If they are readily available channels, one of those readily available channels are the gutters, the water channels. So those drainage that we talk about. So if the drainage are there, if they are effective and efficient, they will contain those water. They will take them to the right place. Another major issue is blockage of this infrastructure. If the infrastructures are blocked, how are they blocked? By human activities. Waste, industrial waste, waste from our homes, the use of PET bottles, and these PET bottles, they don't decompose.
Right.
June 5, Thursday, last week was World Environment Day, and the theme was reducing plastic plastic bottles because it's now a phenomenon in the world. Plastic bottles, they don't decompose. The plastic bottle I use today, the next 10 years is still there. You understand? And it is affecting the environment. It is affecting the water bodies. They go and block drainage systems. So if the drainages are blocked and if the infrastructures are not enough, these are two major issues that causes flooding. And again, another thing is if we don't build infrastructures, like say, okay, we have a dam, we have a reservoir that can contain enough water during rainy season, that we know that there will be excess water. You know, the is it Meteorological Association or the Hydrological Association? They give a forecast that, oh, we are going to have more rainfall this year. So when they give that prediction, you understand, oh, at the dams, do we have those infrastructures to take those excess water, excess rainwater? If those infrastructures are in place, I think there will be solution to this flooding issue. Flooding is actually is a natural phenomenon, but then we need to be ready to ensure that when it comes, we have the right infrastructure to absorb them.
So I want to also commiserate with the people of Niger State and the government. I mean, especially the Mokwa community with the recent happenings, flooding that claims over 150 lives. It's indeed it was a sad moment for them, but then this is one of the reasons why we are here talking about flooding, because it's like you said, it's a natural thing. Water is meant to flow. It's meant to pass, especially when it is in the raining season.
Yes.
But what are the possible ways that we should have in order to allow this water pass to where it should go to, instead of coming into our homes, coming to our communities and disrupt and then cause problem? And by the time it comes like this, so it began to destroy things, and things began to damage properties, and then it destroy lives as well. So looking at the warnings from the Nigerian Hydrological Association, talking about that situation, according to the authority, this was attributed to poor drainage, which is coming from the Mokwa incident.
Yes.
Now, how can we establish a public-private partnership to develop climate resilience infrastructure to mitigate the issues?
First and foremost, my condolences to the families of those who lost their loved ones. And I served in Niger State.
All right.
So I know Mokwa, a beautiful place, a nice area. So and I know what the feeling will be like. It's a bad feeling. It's not something good.
I mean, you look at the pictures, you see that something
it's not there. Something you want to experience. It's not good. But then, learning from incidents. So how can this be mitigated so that we don't have it reoccurring? Is that the infrastructures, it's something that we know about. The government knows about this thing. Irrespective of the warnings that there will be heavy rainfall, okay, is the infrastructure available? The ones that were the available ones, don't they need an upgrade? Are they still able to contain
what is coming?
The flood, the rainfall that is coming? You understand? You know, there is population density. That is nature.
Right.
You understand? the number of people in a particular area
Always
will increase because there is development.
Exactly.
Once development comes, people will want to go to developed area to establish business. And unfortunately, leaders of tomorrow have been killed as a result of this. You understand?
Schools demolished.
Yes, schools demolished. A lot of livelihood is gone down the drain. People will start, those who are alive would start thinking of how they can bring their life back. Business is lost. A lot of money is lost. And then the most important one is that life is lost. But then, how can we mitigate this? How can we stop this? Infrastructures. That's the answer. That's the answer. Infrastructure. And that is where it starts from. So if the infrastructure is available, yes, we'll now do education. The first is engineering, which is to make the infrastructure available for use. The next one is E, the education aspect of it, educating the people that the fact that you see that there is rain is coming, your waste, you now dump it inside your gutter, the water channel in the front of your house, because you are seeing a flood that is coming, you just dump it there and it's taking it away. You don't know that it's taking it somewhere that is going to affect the lives and property of some people. And by so doing, these waste, they block the drains where they are supposed to pass through, they get blocked. So education comes in. The National Orientation Agency has a job to do in that regard,
right,
to give people orientation. And when we are doing this orientation, we make sure that it is well understood in different languages, in different dialects that people can understand. We can also do pictorial images. Let them understand how the drainage works. Let them understand the implication of dumping refuse in the drainage. And we can show them the picture of people that have lost their life, because let them understand that this is what will happen. You understand? So the next E is enforcement. You get my point? You let them understand that make it a criminal offense to dump refuse inside the gutter, because the refuse are not supposed to be inside the gutter. You understand? You make it a punishable offense under the law. Now, if anybody is caught dumping refuse inside the gutter because it is raining, is an offense. And also another thing is, the government can also use the people to monitor themselves.
Public-private partnership.
So where the public-private partnership comes in is that government cannot do it alone. That is why they are inviting the private sector. They are bringing the private sector into it. Just imagine the flood that claimed about 150 lives. I'm very sure it would have also claimed a lot of businesses.
Right.
So
homes.
Yes. Homes. Livelihood. Where the private sector comes in is they give ideas to governments. They bring in their expertise. They bring in their innovation. Oh, this is how we can solve this problem. They come together. The engineers come together. Oh, how can we solve this problem? This is peculiar to our area. How can we solve it? The local content now comes into play. Oh, this is what is applicable in this area. This is how we can solve this problem. Like the people in Mokwa, those who are in that locality, they come together. This is how we can solve this problem. What the government needs to do is give them that enabling environment. Let them do this thing. Let them fix their own problem by themselves. But what the government should do is let them have that assurance that yes, this idea is fantastic. We agree to it. we allow it to go. Whatever it is that you need to get this done, we are supporting you, security wise, in terms of tax waiving. Oh, you are able to do this, we give you a tax waiver for the next 2 years, or we give you a tax waiver for the next 1 year. So far, it will help cushion or eliminate flooding in this environment. Let's go ahead and do it, because the government alone cannot do it. That's why the private sector are needed. And you know, once it has to do with private sector, they will bring in their best to make sure that, oh, their source of livelihood, their business, because nobody goes into business to make loss. Everybody goes into business to make profits. From that angle, they will make sure that they do the best, so that there will be a recurrence will not happen again. I think that's where the PPP would work fantastically well.
I think there is a saying that goes this way: the government has no business in business. So
Yes.
which means that the PPP is very important at this point in time.
Exactly.
The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Engineer Professor Joseph Youssef, called for improving infrastructure and local planning. What is your take on this, and especially the role of research from the academic community, to which you have some level of experience, and especially in what you do right now in the construction space? What do you make of this?
Okay, it's a good one that the Minister for Water Resource identified that there is an infrastructure deficit. It's a public knowledge. The infrastructure deficit is there for everybody to see. But then the government needs to take the bull by the horn and not handle these things with kid's glove. They need to make sure that infrastructures that are needed are put in place. You understand me? And again, like I said earlier, once the infrastructure are put in place, education will come in. We will educate people on what to do and what not to do. And again, the place of research, if you don't do research, there is no development. Research brings about development. When you research, you go into the history of things, and you know, oh, this is why this is happening. This is why we have this. This is the solution to this problem. That's where research comes in. It will help in the area of construction. Oh, this is the best that we can do. When you research, oh, in Milan, we have a situation like this. In California, we have a situation like this. In China, we have a situation like this. How were they able to combat it? That's the area, that's where research comes in. So you understand that, this is what they did in this part of the world, that they did not experience flooding again. You bring that in and apply it in your place. You understand? That's what research does. You understand? So, and in the area of construction, before you construct anything, there's something is called EIA, Environmental Impact Assessment. An EIA is supposed to be done. That is the impact of what you are doing on the environment. Hope your concrete waste, or how do you manage your waste? Hope is not that the waste that you generate from your construction, you are not dumping it where it will block the infrastructures that are readily available to ensure that there is no flooding. You get my point? All these things, it still comes to government to put in the necessary things in place to manage and ensure that flooding does not occur in the environment.
I mean, we cannot afford to sit back and watch Nigerians go through flooding, claiming lives and properties, especially the current situation of the economy. I mean, a lot has been happening to livelihood.
Yes.
So now let's talk about ecology fund, right? So which enables state to respond to environmental issues like erosion and flooding. So I want to ask, do you think this ecological fund is effective, efficient?
Okay. The idea of the ecological fund is a fantastic one. Is a proactive measure to ensure that there is provision made ready on ground should there be any disaster. But then when you look at it, these ecological funds, where are they? Are they being used for what they were meant to be used for? You understand me? The answer is no, because the ecological funds are also like a support system to, okay, we have a budget to do a dam, to do a drainage, to build infrastructures, but we cannot meet up. Oh, let's take from the ecological funds to support,
like saving for emergency.
Yes, to support this system so that we can quickly get this thing done. Okay, you don't get them done, your infrastructure is not 100% complete. You understand? We now have a disaster. This ecological fund is meant to cushion the effects of the disaster. Those who have been displaced, those who have lost their livelihood, I think that is one of the reasons why we have this ecological fund.
That make a lot of sense. So ecological fund, which is supposed to be like a savings where we go there when there is emergency.
Yes, like a palliative for those who are affected, and okay, this has happened in the short time. What can we quickly do? You understand?
All right. So as we wrap up, what is your advice to the government on sustainable plans and legislations to achieve a secure environment in the country? How should state approach communities in floodplain areas?
Okay, having it at the back of our mind that life is precious. Once a life is gone, it cannot be replaced. We just have one life. Nobody has extra life. Once we have it at the back of our mind that yes, as government, our job, our top priority is the security and safety of life. Then we need to ensure that at all cost, nothing happens to any individual. Nothing happens to any individual under my watch. As a president, as a governor, as a local government chairman, as a lawmaker, our job is to ensure that we promulgate law as a lawmaker that would ensure the safety of life. So I'm speaking in general terms now.
That's the first priority
You
of
understand?
leadership.
Yes. Again, as an executive in the arm of government, our job is to ensure that the laws that are passed to save people's life, we ensure that we do everything humanly possible to execute that law. You get my point? And then the judiciary, our job is to ensure that whosoever is not doing what they are supposed to do with regards to human life and security, we give the necessary judgment to them, which will serve as a deterrent to defaulters who are not making sure that the effort of government is affected. You get my point? So if we have that at the back of our mind, and that comes with commitment, leadership commitment, because without good leadership, whatever it is that we say we want to do can never be done. So from the head, if the head, like the saying goes, where there's a will, there's a way. If there's a will to make sure that flooding is stopped in this country, believe me, it will happen. As politicians always have the will to win the next election, that they do everything humanly possible to emerge as winners. If they can put this same effort into stopping flooding in Nigeria, if the 36 governors in Nigeria, including the FCT, if they come together that, oh, we want to put a stop to flooding, nothing will stop them from doing it. The greatest force is the will to do something. I also appeal to our people, they should stop dumping refuse in the readily available drainages. If you go to Oshodi, if you go to every Okeafa, you'll see people, when rain starts, you see them dumping refuse in the gutter, in the canal, so that rain can move it. And they don't know that they are causing problem that can kill people. So I'll say this, if you are dumping refuse into the canal, if you are dumping refuse into the gutter in the front of your house, it's no more ignorance. You are sending some people to their early grave, which is not good. So let's stop that attitude. Let's stop that act. Government should also play a part. Like in some years ago, Lagos was one of the cleanest cities in Nigeria. But today, you see waste in every nooks and crannies of Lagos State. It's not good. This waste, they come when it rains. You see them on the gutter. They are going into they are going into the water channel. They will block the water channel, and they will affect the environment. They damage a lot of things. So it's an appeal to government and also an appeal to we Nigerians to do the right thing always. Thank you very much.
Right. It is a collective effort, and avoid dumping refugees in the drainages. Thank you so much, Mr. Samson Ogunleye, health, safety, and environment professional, for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
And now to you, our esteemed viewers, this is where we draw the curtain for the discussion today. If you want to get more information, more knowledge on finance and market, the banking, economy, and investing, please visit the brochure website, WebTV YouTube, and follow our all social media platform displayed on the screen. Also, we will appreciate your feedback and comment on the program. Thank you for watching. I am Gabriel Jude signing out, and have a great day.